Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd Chrisley daughter Lindsie won't cry over what's gone. Todd Chrisley's daughter Lindsie Chrisley shared a heartfelt message on Instagram. The former Chrisley Knows Best star shared a series of photos of herself with her son Jackson Campbell. The first photo shows them snuggling and smiling together. The second shows them goofing around. The last two photos show the mother and son duo holding hands. Lindsie wore a black jogging suit, while Jackson wore a gray sweatsuit. In the caption, she revealed that she won't cry over what's already gone. Is she talking about her estranged relationship with her father? Check out the post for yourself, and let us know your thoughts. Lindsie Chrisley is not shedding tears anymore. On Monday, March 7th, Lindsie shared the beautiful photos with her followers. However, her Instagram post revealed that she had more to say. Todd Chrisley's daughter has no more tears to cry. That's because she's not missing what's no longer in her life. Don't miss what's coming because you're crying over what's gone, she wrote in her Instagram post. God isn't going to make it like it was before, He is going to make it better. The former reality star shared a Bible verse with her followers. She mentioned Haggai 2 verse 9, which says, "The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, says the Lord Almighty SIC." Once again, it sounds like Lindsie is mentioning her old home, which she shared with Todd Chrisley and the rest of her family. She teased that she's building an even better home for herself and Jackson. Amid all the pain, Lindsie is reminding herself of the good moments. She admitted that it's a daily practice. Lindsie teased followers that good things are on the horizon. She's letting God lead the way. While Lindsie no longer speaks to Todd Chrisley, it's clear that they both share a love for God. So much goodness coming and I cannot wait to share. Reminding myself daily to let God direct my steps. He has plans and He has time, Lindsie teased. Never early, never late. Todd Chrisley no longer speaks to his daughter. Todd Chrisley isn't the only one who shares cryptic posts. Sometimes Lindsie does too. But she does it in a way that makes it look like it's not a cryptic post. She'll share a heartwarming photo along with a message that's been on her heart lately. The influencer got a lot of support from her followers. Her friend and Coffee Convos podcast co-host Kaylin Lowry wrote in the comment section, "This is the sweetest." Other fans commented on Lindsie's adorable photos with Jackson. Some can't wait to see what kind of news she's going to share. Does this have to do with her upcoming book? Todd Chrisley's daughter is set to release a tell-all book. She could reveal some secrets about the Chrisley family. As fans know, Todd Chrisley and Lindsie Chrisley are no longer on speaking terms. They agreed not to mention each other through the media. If Lindsie comes out with this book, this could change everything. What are your thoughts on her Instagram post? Sound off below in the comment section. The November sun sat low over the Nashville skyline, painting the city in a warm, muted gold. The kind of light that made everything look softer, gentler, more forgiving. But Lindsie Chrisley wasn't feeling any of those things. She sat stiff-backed on the balcony of her condo, a mug of cooling coffee in her hand, her expression carved into something unreadable. Another headline had dropped that morning. Lindsie Chrisley breaks silence, refuses to cry over what's gone. The tabloids loved slicing her family apart like a cake at a church potluck. And maybe once, years ago, she would have cried over the broken pieces. But today, she wouldn't shed a single tear. She had cried enough. Inside the condo, her phone buzzed again. The world always had something to say about the Chrisley family. This time, the buzz wasn't a journalist but her younger sister, Savannah. "Hey," Savannah said the moment the call connected, not even pretending the conversation would be casual. "Did you see the headline?" "I saw it," Lindsie replied coolly. "Let them say whatever they want." There was a long silence. Lindsie could almost feel Savannah trying to put together the right words, like lace stitching on a torn dress. "You sound different," Savannah finally said. "I am different," Lindsie answered. "And that's not a bad thing." She ended the call before Savannah could respond. She wasn't angry, just done. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like she owed anyone an explanation or a performance. She wasn't the tearful daughter begging to be understood. She wasn't the girl replaying old arguments, old wounds, old public betrayals. She wasn't the tabloid version of herself, petty, dramatic, forever attached to the word estranged like it was a middle name. She was just Lindsie. And she was free. The letter she didn't send. On her kitchen counter lay a handwritten letter. 8 full pages of raw emotion she had poured out the night before. It wasn't meant for the public. Not for the tabloids. Not even for her podcast listeners. It was meant for her father. She had started writing it after dreaming of him again, his voice loud and sharp, but laced with the fierce, complicated love that had always made him both magnetic and overwhelming. But the letter was not an olive branch. It was not an apology. It was not even a plea. It was closure. Dad, you taught me to be strong, but strength doesn't always look like winning a fight. Sometimes it looks like walking away from the battlefield. The letter sat there unsent, a symbol of something she had finally learned. Healing didn't always involve reconciliation. Sometimes healing was choosing peace over chaos, even if that peace meant distance. The podcast mic waited. Her podcast studio, a spare room lined with soft lights and acoustic panels, felt like her sanctuary. Her voice had power there. People listened. People understood. Today's episode was already planned. What we lose, what we keep. She took a seat at the mic and adjusted her headphones. The red light blinked. Recording began. People keep asking why I'm not crying, she began, her voice soft but steady. Why I'm not publicly grieving the relationships that have changed. Why I'm not falling apart over what I've lost. She paused, letting the weight of her next words settle. But here's the truth. I'm not crying because I've finally accepted that some chapters end. I'm not crying because I've learned to make peace with what's gone. Not everything that breaks needs to be glued back together. She told stories of rebuilding her life, her confidence, her identity. She spoke about raising her son, Jackson, with intention and gentleness. She spoke about therapy, boundaries, and the quiet courage it took to stop living for the approval of others, especially her family. By the end of the episode, she felt lighter, as if speaking her truth had carved away another layer of heaviness. She clicked stop on the recording. The silence that filled the room afterward wasn't empty. It was full of possibility, full of self-trust, full of the calm she'd worked hard to earn. A surprise visitor. That evening, as the early winter chill swept across Nashville, there was a knock at her door. She opened the door to find her brother, Chase, standing there with his hands shoved in his pockets, his expression uncertain. "Hey," he said, managing a small smile. "Mind if I come in?" She stepped aside. "Sure." He glanced around the condo like he was checking for tripwire. When his eyes landed on the letter on the counter, he looked back at her. "I heard your podcast today," he said. "You sounded strong." "I am," she replied, arms folded. "Or at least trying to be." "I know things have been messy," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "But I miss you." Those words cracked something, not painfully but softly. "I miss you too," Lindsie admitted. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "And I just want to say, you don't owe anyone tears. Not Dad, not the internet, not me. If you're done crying over the past, then good. Let the past stay there." Lindsie nodded, her throat tightening, not with sadness, but with relief. For once, someone wasn't asking her to go back in time. Someone was meeting her where she stood now. No tears left to give. After Chase left, Lindsie returned to the balcony. The city lights blinked below her like distant stars. The letter still lay unsent on the counter behind her, but she didn't feel pulled toward it anymore. Maybe one day she'd send it. Maybe she never would. Both choices were valid. She wrapped her arms around herself and whispered into the evening air. "I won't cry over what's gone. Not out of coldness. Not out of pride. But because she'd finally learned to honor herself as much as she had tried to honor everyone else. And this version of herself, the one standing tall in the glow of the Nashville night, unburdened, unbroken, unbowed, wasn't missing anything. She had everything she needed.